don't compromise quite a number of things which you have initially listed. Whether you prefer a simplex living or you prefer living on multiple floors.
That how does the city grow? Where should I be focusing on?
Buying in a upcoming hub is also has its own benefit. I recommend all my friends you go a construction linked plan. If you are building something which helps the salespeople to sell, I am not sure whether it will last for long.
Hey everyone, welcome back. It's been great interacting with all of you. In this episode, we are going to talk about the remaining two W's, the which and the where. So what do you think those mean? You're absolutely right. Which kind of house you should go for and where should you be setting up your dream home? So, lights, camera and action. Hi Deba, welcome back to another episode of The Blueprint.
Hi Sandhya, thank you.
So, a steady increase in our viewership is the basis for our next set of questions. In the last episode, we had talked about the why and the what from our 4W and 1H concept. So, today we are going to move forward and we are going to further discuss which and where. So, moving on to the
Which
first
and
one.
where of real estate buying?
Yes, real estate buying.
Good.
From our framework.
Sure.
So, the very first question, which kind of home should one go for?
Very lovely homes. Yeah.
And how do we build those lovely homes?
Correct. Yes. So, I think again go back to the same question. Who all are going to live? Who possibly are going to live in next 15 years? I think that if that list is ready, I think this question can be answered super fast.
Which is part of our homework.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So, in a possible lifespan of next 15 years, this house which you are planning to buy or build, I mean, it's just a broader concept. Who all are going to live? And then if that list is ready, possibly of next 15 years, right? You and children, maybe a pet, parents. Think a little long term and about 15 years. And then develop this list who all are going to live, then this question can be answered. So, which kind of house will try to respond in multi-dimensional way? One is about whether it is an apartment, some people call it condo, or it's a villa, or villament slash townhouse, villament and townhouse. So, one way to evaluate this particular question is whether you would prefer a simplex living, that is the entire family living on one floor, or you prefer living on multiple floors. And multiple floors nowadays are not just duplex, it is triplex also. So, whether you would like to live in one floor or you live in multiple floors. So, I will give my input which people realize it after moving in. Better we provide those inputs now. One is the moment you live in multiple floors, face time amongst the entire family gets divided.
Yes, I think I can say that from personal experience as well.
Absolutely. So, you have to be comfortable whether you are okay with that. Either face time with your children will be less or face time with your parents will be less.
Correct.
And some way some people may prefer it. So, they should not go for a simplex even if they should look at duplex, that because it provides one level of privacy. Then there are maybe some people are focusing on competitive exams. And so, you have one full layer for them. Even during that time you meet friends and family, but they have upper floors to focus on studies. And maybe somebody is working from home 3 to 4 days a week. So, they have a little bit of focus. So, duplex has that advantage that you get one privacy. And simplex is of course more face time. The other challenge one people after moving in and living for 4-5 years come to realize that if you live in a duplex and you are somebody who are very active throughout the house, you need to think about the steps you take inside the
Yes.
house.
I think you can cover your 10,000 steps daily
Absolutely,
within the house.
easily, and which is good.
Yes.
But we also need to think about how is an Indian household lifestyle.
Right.
Many challenges once you become 50.
Correct.
So, if the challenge with your knees prevent you to move up and down, and but at the same time you want to have good face time with everybody in the member, right? Then you prefer, I would prefer you go for simplex, or duplex. So this is one dimension where you want to go for a villa, either duplex or triplex, then apartment. By the way, nowadays even villas have lift provision.
Correct.
So you can plan for a lift to avoid the arthritis challenge. The other dimension which I usually focus in, you don't compromise quite a number of things which you have initially listed just because those things are not easily available.
Right.
That means you have done a list of things, maybe a simplex, 3-bedroom plus study, or 4-bedroom, this kind of layout I prefer. We don't want to evaluate an apartment complex which has parking, open car parking, so a lot of vehicular movement and all. You had created this list beginning, but then you just get carried away with some specific developments of top developers in the city, and you didn't find anything for whatever reason. Then don't compromise this list. I recommend you broaden that search. The one challenge many people have, how do I broaden a search? How do I go for a developer who is not doing so much of advertisements, not well known?
Correct.
So, lot of good things happened over years. One is now every project before selling have to go through RERA, and they do a very decent job.
Right.
In many states, RERA has developed over a period of time. They do a decent job of looking at the approvals. The joint development agreement between the landowner and the developer should be very clear, registered, and all, quite a number of things they do. So at least you know the unit which you are going to buy actually belongs to the developer who are trying to sell to you. You as a buyer also can do that search in the RERA website. That is number one. Number two, quality. I mean, whether it is any development, if you want to do a quality check, you can engage some architects or civil engineers at the time of construction. There are some companies who does pre-delivery inspection.
Oh, okay.
Before you move in. So that also can be done. So you can involve companies like Ceyone in this when you are trying to broaden the search to see, okay, I didn't find whatever I was looking for in the list of projects which everybody is talking about.
Right.
So now I am broadening my search. I am going to the next 20 developments or next 25 developments. But it's because many of these developers are new to me, or they have 1 or 2 projects at a time. Actually, many good developments come from companies who do only 1 or 2 projects at a time.
Because the focus is
focus, material selection, craftsmanship, quality. So, and they seem to be more comfortable doing 1 or 2 projects at a time. So we spend a lot of time before picking these projects. Little bit of their background, discipline, the financial rigor, and all these things. So most of our projects, whatever we take, more or less will be delivered on the timeline committed, because we have done that evaluation ourselves. At the same time, from quality point of view, from design point of view, like this unit built for 4-member family, 5-member family, 6-member family, and then would have evaluated will it last for next 10 to 15 years.
Correct.
So Ceyone and there are other companies. So when you are broadening the search, either you can take help of RERA or any architect or civil engineer or a marketing company like Ceyone, so that you get what you are looking for. That's the other dimension. And of course, financial dimension is also there. Thankfully, the financial schemes are plenty.
Right.
I'm actually very conservative when it comes to this. I recommend all my friends, you go a construction linked plan, even if you not getting a big discount, but at least you pay as when the I mean, that was the essence of RERA, but there are a lot of plans possible with the help of bankers, developers also come. I don't encourage people to get carried away with a product just because there is a plan. First, it doesn't need to meet your whatever list you have created.
Right.
Plots is not only for investment. I mean, if at some point, like after 15 years, right? We say after 15 years, maybe I would like to build. So you buy a bigger plot today, which probably after 15 years you may not be able to afford.
Correct.
So you buy a bigger plot today and then build a house, or build, maybe your children would like to build a house.
You get a couple of years later.
Yeah. So plot may be visible for investment today, which you may sell it, somebody else will buy.
Right.
Somebody else will buy and build something done, or you yourself build on it. So plot is very good for something very long term, 15, 20 years.
So that covers which type of home, but I also wanted to ask you, Deba, so what is the entire logic or algorithm in terms of buying a kind of home? So what is it that as Ceyone we do for our buyers in making the decision easy for them?
Because I had significant real estate experience before starting Ceyone. In fact, my team helped close to about 8,000 families before I start Ceyone, and helping them to buy. So in some or other way, some of this information get aggregated in your thought process.
Right.
So we have created this pricing engine on day one.
Okay.
Day one. All projects which go live on Ceyone will have minimum 3 to 4 filters.
Okay.
Of the available units,
Okay.
at real time basis, available units of the project is visible on the website.
Okay.
And it will have minimum 3 filters. Whether it's a 3-bedroom or 4-bedroom, that is what we primarily deal with mostly. Some projects we have 2-bedroom, but mostly we deal with 3, 4 or above. So whether it's a 3-bedroom unit or a 4-bedroom units, which floors, if it is an apartment, which floor, like 0 to 5, 6 to 10, so that is another option. And what kind of view it may have.
Oh.
Because that comes from our technical expertise. We analyze a plan, what the entire plan, what view it comes. I think I covered this earlier, that in the same pricing engine, we provide the actual unit plan for you. Actual plan. So every floor, suppose it's a 15-story unit, and each floor has suppose 6 units. There will be 90 plans.
So you can actually go in and view the individual plan. Then
because the plan shows where is the other units on this floor, where is the lift, where is the staircase.
So that's in fact a great tool for visualization.
Visualization, you can take a decision. I probably don't want to buy something just next to the lift.
Correct.
For one thing.
Correct.
So you don't explore that option. You explore the other units which are farther away from the lift. Floor wise you can divide. I would like to look only middle floors, because there are many people who are keen only middle floor.
Correct.
So you look at whatever available between 6th to 10th only. Floor is there. I would like to look for a sunset view. There are some projects which offer sunset view. So that is also. Some of these filters we already built into the pricing engine.
Okay.
But the next version of as it comes will be much more broader. Much filters as detailed as whether it is a parallel kitchen or it's an L-type kitchen.
Wonderful.
Whether you have all bedrooms on one side or one bedroom, which I covered, like master bedroom to one side and the other 2 bedrooms on the other side. Like some of these very interesting and very detailed features will come in the next version.
So every single buyer who comes in at Ceyone has this tool available with them to be able to go visualize, maybe explore multiple units at the same time, and then pick and choose. That's amazing.
Many families walk in and say, we have spent some time on your pricing engine. We would like to see 4C unit in this tower or 6F unit in this tower.
That's so specific.
And yeah, and see how much transaction time is reduced.
Exactly.
How much haggling is reduced.
Exactly.
And so this is what we am saying. Anything you want to build in real estate as a platform, it must help the buyer to buy.
Correct.
If you are building something which helps the salespeople to sell, I am not sure whether it will last for long. So we are trying to build a few things here and there which can help the buyer.
Right.
The same pricing engine, because affordability is a big dimension, right? And the same pricing engine, the moment you select a unit that I probably like this unit, it also tells you what would be the EMI.
Oh.
This specific for that, not like a
A general
EMI
calculator.
Specific to this unit, and we have taken some default values, but you can change on the values. Like we have taken a default value of 15% as your down payment.
Right.
You can increase to 20 to reduce your EMI. We would have taken a default of probably 15 years loan. You may want to increase now, 20,
Correct.
25 years also available. Or you say, no, I am not carrying that long. I
Right.
want to close it in 10 years. So that also is this 4-way flexible calculator.
And the interesting element is that the buyers can do all of this from the comfort of their home.
Yes,
They
absolutely.
don't have
absolutely,
anybody
yes.
sitting on their head, or they can just sit and visualize from the comfort of their home. That's beautiful.
It has been designed to be done by the buyers who I believe are extremely intelligent,
Right.
smart, and personally I also expect them to spend more time than us because they will enjoy the house more than.
Correct.
So
And I think that attachment starts beginning at this level itself.
Yes, involved. You open multiple computers, multiple laptops and see this unit versus this unit, or I mean, if you have a bigger laptop, you can open both next to each other.
Right, and compare. That's
All this,
beautiful.
yes.
I'm excited to go and explore the pricing engine now.
Yeah, yes. For all projects.
Yes. Wonderful. So that covers our which. So I would love to move on to the next one, which is our where. Where can you find a home? But when I start talking about where, the first thought that comes to my mind is when I moved to Bangalore about 18 years back, the city landscape was very, very different than what I see today.
Yeah.
So it's a very confusing question for the buyer as well, that how does the city grow? Where should I be focusing on when I'm thinking of buying or investing in property?
Yes, so on this particular aspect, to many extent, real estate is dependent on the infrastructure development of the city.
Right.
Infrastructure not just in terms of roads and all, in terms of this, I call it economic cluster, development of economic clusters. That plays a bigger role than other things. So, if we can, look at Bangalore over last probably 30 years, 95, you just take a 95 to 2024. Somewhere around 95, Infosys opened its first office in Electronic City.
Right.
And slowly Electronic City became a hub. It is supposed to be hardware plus software, but the software developed more. So slowly hardware companies moved out and more software companies came.
Right.
I think sometime around that time even ITPL was developed.
Right.
In Whitefield. It was developed by some investment from Singapore. But initially, because of Infosys and later Wipro also, Electronic City actually grew faster. And then of course ITPL caught up, and then because of the outer ring road, the entire between the Silk Board and all the way till Whitefield and now beyond has become an IT hub.
IT hub.
So this concept of ecosystem works very well in any service business, where people intensive business, ecosystem plays a bigger role.
Right.
Multiple companies in the same area.
Right.
So now we are talking about Electronic City, ITPL, and many IT parks around ITPL, and then Bellandur, of course, that entire belt. So which initial development was primarily by Indian IT companies. And then multinational centers, multinational companies started their own center of excellence, they call it India Development Center, and then they started developing. And then probably around 2010, we got the first big IT development in North, Manyata business.
Manyata.
And of course, that also expanded well. The biggest boost to real estate development till today in last 25-30 years is of course the international airport.
Right.
I mean, that it's a good division that it happened really far from the city, so that it gives you some breathing space between the city and the airport, and that area is now.
But that area itself has developed so much.
Yeah. So we are fortunate we don't have any big obstacle all around. Bangalore can develop throughout all 360 days, even Hyderabad also. So city development to many extent is driven by economic clusters. So if the infra development and this economic boost go hand in hand, things become more smooth.
Right.
Where you should buy is people are become very comfortable commuting long.
Correct.
Because I think it comes from a concept that maybe commuting long is for one person, but if it is closer to school and it's a good place to live, because you go back to my 75-hour calculation, right? So as a person, I may commute 1.5 hours, and I am talking about our acceptance to long commute even before COVID, where we used to go to work every day, 5 days or 6 days. So now, of course, that challenge is less. So people would be comfortable. So it's again about having a good life versus like, would you like to live in a place, it may be heart of the city, but you don't even have one car park for a visitor.
Correct.
Right? So, or would you like to live, okay, maybe I commute a little longer, but I live, at least I can have 3-4 visitor car parks somewhere close to my house, and people come and then there is a calm and cool life after I reach home, because when you reach home, you should feel like you arrived home.
Correct.
Right? So where is something, I would not recommend to be buying something so close just to your workplace, compromising everything else.
Right. Tomorrow I may change jobs.
Tomorrow you will change. You will change jobs.
Correct.
Very few. I mean, if you don't change, your employer would like for you to change, or your competitions will be big. If you are doing very good and your employer is still want to continue, competition will change.
Correct.
And they will make you an offer you may not be able to register.
Right. Right.
So you will change. Your location will change. And I'll give you another example. We were talking about Manyata. Before Manyata, IBM had offices all over around South Bangalore.
Correct.
But they moved, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, so you may like IBM very much, but your company is only moving to another location.
Yes. In fact, personally speaking, my husband was in IBM, and we have a place in South Bangalore simply because his office was there. We moved in, and within 6 months, Manyata Tech Park was there, and then he had to travel all the way.
So don't buy very close to workplace. Buy where some good social life is there.
Right.
And then some commute will be there. Of course, I all say that you try to reduce your commute. With metro connectivity, commutes are becoming smooth, more predictable, I would say. That is important. Right?
But I think metro is also becoming quite a game changer.
Big changer.
Right.
Big changer. Yes. So, you talk about, I lived in many cities across the world where metro is the lifeline.
Right.
Okay. You see the density around metro routes vis-a-vis the density of the entire city. There is a huge difference.
Right.
So suppose the density of the city may be X number of people in square kilometer. The density around metro route would be somewhere between 2.5x to 4x.
Oh.
So, and Bangalore will not be any exception. I mean.
Correct.
So, the metro routes will be popular. Lot of new routes also are being planned.
Right.
And once metro starts operating, right, first 25 kilometer is the most difficult. then the next 50. And so once it hits 100 kilometer, it has its own way of expanding faster and things. Because you would like to, once you have decided to use a metro,
Right.
most people don't want to take car to some extent.
Correct.
And then
Exactly.
again, right?
Right.
So you may be living, I know for sure there are so many of my friends live in Banaghatta Road because they bought there when they were working with Electronic City.
Correct.
Now their offices moved to, they go to either Manyata or to Whitefield. So they must, if they decide to take a metro and don't buy a car, don't buy the next car, they must find a way that from my house I may take just a feeder bus to go to
Correct.
the nearest metro or
Correct.
walk.
Or walk down.
From there I should be able to take, maybe I'll change metros,
Right.
but I must be able to go to Whitefield
Correct.
by the metro itself.
Correct.
Then it makes sense.
Right.
And which is happening. It took some time, but we are reaching there. So metro is becoming a game changer. So biggest infra development of late is metro and airport road.
So even locations which initially probably where people would not think, or maybe they were just areas where people would invest for long term, for example, Chandapura,
Absolutely.
are now becoming hubs where
Yeah.
property development is on the boom.
Absolutely. So that is how city moves out, right? There was a time going to Hosur used to be a task.
Correct.
Today going to Hosur and coming back is
Right.
hardly okay.
Right.
I mean, you brought a point, very interesting point about Chandapur. That was my first project.
Oh.
On that road, I had my first, and that was my first company was an affordable housing company. So the land, some of the lands I used to visit then, some around 2009 and 2010, for affordable housing. Some of the land available today is meant for super luxury projects. Same location, land doesn't change its
Right.
origin. So city moves out.
Right.
City moves out. People find comfort in living a little far, but okay, I will have some greenery access.
Correct.
I have, as I told you, I have some open space around. If people visit me on weekend, they have car to park.
Right.
They don't have to park somewhere else and come. All these things you take into where to buy.
Correct.
Buying in a upcoming hub is also has its own benefit. Like there are people who bought a house to live in North Bangalore 15 years before. That time probably it was not like many families not living around, but now it is good.
Yeah, that time it was like outskirts. Where are you living?
Correct. So find a place which is socially acceptable, maybe a little far from work, and school. I think school plays a big role.
Right, that's true.
So good schools around, and hopefully close to walkable to a metro station.
Right. I think that should be one of the important factors now.
Both my apartments are walkable to a metro
Oh,
station.
wonderful. In fact, metro pillars are becoming like landmarks now. You just tell them which pillar you're standing next to and it's easy. That's from the buyer perspective, but I also want to understand what is the factors that Ceyone looks at while we are selecting projects.
When it comes to villa projects, obviously it are all upcoming locations.
Correct.
But we look at good accessibility.
Okay.
So because we can't just assume that everybody will have a car. There are people who want to live without having a car, and metro is expanding, right? So they say no. So at least a good bus access facility, if it is these are the villa projects on the outskirts. Good access road is something we look at. And finally we are talking about buying a house and converting into a home and all.
Right.
So fairly comfortable off the main road, but not really off, but little off on the main road. The main roads are really crowded, and if you live on a main road, Saturday is horrible actually. To take a U-turn itself, sometimes you have to wait 17 minutes. So little off from the main road, we are very comfortable with good access.
With good access.
We continue to look at being a very old conservative approach. Rainwater, like Bangalore also have good rainwater area, not so good rainwater area, right? So I'm saying it's if we can focus on greeneries. See, if with a good rainfall, you see a lot of greenery
Correct.
also around.
Correct.
That also helps you to not have for whatever challenges. The city expands so fast that the government not able to supply
Right.
piped water
Right.
to every household.
And this summer we did face that issue anyway.
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah. So every once in there will be 2-3 good rain. Like this is going to
Yes.
be a good monsoon.
right.
Then there will be 1 or 2 not so good. So I think about, I know the rain surplus areas of Bangalore. So we have something in mind, or is it a rain surplus area? That comes from our experience.
Okay. So, what would you suggest, Deba, that how should an individual buyer narrow down their choices when they're deciding the location? So, would you suggest any key elements that they should keep in mind? We've talked about accessibility, we've talked about metro, we've talked about the growth of the areas, but keeping the individual perspective in mind, any essential factors you think buyers should keep in mind?
Many buyers start as well as limit their search to location and price.
Correct.
It's not a great idea, unfortunately.
Mm.
Actually, it's very easy to do. Both are quantifiable numbers.
Right.
But that's the moment you think about 15 years, many of these things.
Changes.
Yeah. So I say it cannot start and end with location. It cannot start and end with 3-bedroom, 1 or 1.2. So you have to, those are very important criteria, of course. So I would look at, find a location which is socially active for some time, and it will be socially active for some time to come, and good schools, probably have a good walkable access to a upcoming metro if metro is not there already, and a reasonable commute for yourself today. Commutes may keep changing, as I told you.
Right.
Your job also may
Right.
change. How the moment you bring in saying, okay, this is a location I am very familiar today, will this location work for me for next 15 years?
Correct.
Will this location work for my family for next 15 years? Is this an upcoming location? Like there are many buyers who think the house where I am going to live is also a financial investment for me.
Correct.
So I would recommend you look at an upcoming location.
So that it's not a saturated place.
Yeah, not
it will
essentially,
keep
yeah.
increasing.
You actually get a bigger house
Right.
at a good,
Right.
reasonable cost today. You live there, maybe a little more, but and thankfully, Bangalore has good schools in all
Right.
directions.
Correct.
So you, in fact, those areas your school will be closer actually.
Correct.
So
Correct.
commuting for your children is less. And all. You may have a reasonably bigger commute, but if you are talking about 15 years, even if when you would like to upgrade, your current house has become very valuable.
Valuable. Right.
So that helps you to do a better upgrade.
Right.
And if it goes to next generation, they get a valuable asset. Right?
Correct. Correct.
So my thing is, you have to take all this, whether it is where, what, and which, in a 15-year lens for your family. Then things become a little more clear.
Right.
Upcoming locations, I usually recommend buy in an upcoming location. When I first bought my apartment, my first visit to that project was on a motorbike. I was riding and somebody else was driving, and I came from work. That time I was working in an Infosys Electronic City, and came from Electronic City to Silk Board, and from Silk Board to Jayadevabad. And my first house is on Banaghatta Road. So by the time I reach, because that time Nice Road was not ready.
Correct.
By the time I reached the location, I was having headache. And I thought, is this going to be for every evening
Every
for
day.
me? There was a single lane road only that time.
Correct.
But I invested, and it was a very good decision. It
Right.
was upcoming.
Right.
Lot of things happened in the last 25
Absolutely.
years. So it is, I think it makes sense to look at an upcoming location. But don't compromise. There are other projects available is a slightly better location, but bedrooms were small, dark bedrooms. So I said I would not like to compromise on those. Whatever little list I had, I didn't want to compromise. I preferred a longer commute.
Right.
But within 3-4 years, many things changed.
Absolutely.
I mean, NICE started operating after
Right.
NICE. From my house to Electronic City was a 12-minute journey.
Right, right.
Of course, then I changed my job. I told you it keeps,
So, yeah.
it keeps happening. And then metro happened.
Right.
It makes sense to keep evaluate upcoming locations. Evaluate an upcoming location, evaluate good product. It may not come from reputed builders. And if you need some help, take help from your friends who are in the industry, architecture, or civil engineers. Or if you don't have anybody or you want a neutral opinion, take help of marketing companies like Ceyone.
Right. Right.
That's so.
Wonderful. So thank you so much, Deba, for breaking down the 4 W's for our buyers. And we will meet you in the next episode to tackle the last question of our framework, which is the how.
Okay, sure. I look forward to.
So that wraps up the 4 W's of our framework. And now we are left with just one question, the how. For that, stay tuned to our next episode. And don't forget to follow us on our LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook page. And do subscribe to our YouTube channel. See you all in the next episode.